the protesting for George Floyd is still going on. People are steady getting killed. Down in Georgia, the police chief has resigned. Rashard Brooks was in the Wendy's parking lot or in the Wendy's drive-thru, and he was stopped for a DUI. And the police were trying to make an arrest, and it got out of control. They had him on the ground. He was wrestling with the police. He got the taser from the police officer and ran, and he got shot. Now, just a week ago, T.I. was talking about don't bring the looting down here, don't bring that stuff down here, and now another person has gotten shot, or they claim another black man has gotten shot by the police. So the Keisha Lance Bottom has fired the officer who shot and killed Rayshard Brooks. Like I said, the police chief has resigned, and Keisha Lance Bottom said that the excessive force was not justified. So, basically, people are fed up with the police, and the police are having to deal with the struggle to make arrests, and anarchy has arrived. Because the public has lost respect for the police or have gotten frustrated with the police. So now they're fighting the police. Protests have been peaceful. Some have been peaceful. Others have not so peaceful. So that is what's going on. You all, please chime in because things are getting worse. We're in the phases of opening back up, and it's like tension and frustrations are rising. And I knew when they closed this government down, I knew it was going to be some shit. Because when you lock a whole government down and people can't go anywhere and they're frustrated, this is the end result. This is the end results. Oh, Lord. And people talk about the coronavirus, but with all this protest and stuff, like, people are not really practicing social distance. So the coronavirus is not going to go anywhere because people are protesting and huddled up together, and they just spreading it around, I guess. I don't know. I'm just here to report to you all because the media is reporting this as well, but I want to know what everybody thinks. You know what I'm saying? Because the citizens are frustrated, and they're taking it outside, and then the police are trying to execute warrants and arrests and stuff like that, and it is just a clash with the police. And as y'all know what I said last week, when you face violence with violence, now the police officers are going to enforce the law regardless, whether they, that's the gist of law and order. They're going to enforce it. So if you resist and you fight and the police officers fighting, violence begets violence. So it's just like the more that citizens fight the police, the more people are going to be killed. I told y'all this, and this is exactly what's happening. So, y'all tell me what y'all think. Oh, I was looking at, I think England or London, Black Lives Matter is trying to tear down the statues there, and the London citizens are protecting the statues, and the police have to create a wall between two groups, Black Lives Matter and then another group who are protecting the statues. Man, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I will say this though. I knew because here in Virginia, they're tearing down Confederate statues and the flags. They've been doing that since 2015. And a lot of white people are speaking out against that because that's their culture. Like anything dealing with Christopher Columbus, that's European history. So any statue or any general that has slaves or anything, they want them torn down. And I really don't have a gripe about that. I just know why whites are reacting, because those statues are markers of their history. So I don't really have a gripe. I don't even really have a complaint or anything to say. I'm just reporting. I don't have an opinion on it, but I do understand why, they're reacting, because it's cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? And I knew once they started messing with the statues, and I knew it was going to be a mess. It was going to be a mess. And tensions are rising. But I was talking to my dad today, and he said something that caught my attention. My dad is from Baltimore, and he said in '63 there were riots, and he was saying that the riots came back around again, and he said, people have in the I think it was 1973 or 78, citizens got fed up with the justice system and the lawyers, and they started protesting and rioting I think it was 63. They had lost respect or lost faith in the government, because the government basically, wasn't doing certain things. So there were riots and protests. And I will say this. A lot of people are coming out and saying, go in November and vote. Because when you vote, the executive branch, which is the police, the president, and all of that, that's mainly what you need to focus on, because the people that you put in office, they make sure that the executive branch is not corrupt. For the past 50 years, the executive branch has been corrupt, and it's based on not voting correctly, putting the wrong people in office, and then they're making laws that are racially biased, and it's getting people killed. And not only do we need to address the government on past laws that they put on the books to allow police officers to do certain things, they also need to speak to a lot of issues. But it starts with making sure that you're voting in the right people. Because I remember in 2014, I was going, back and forth to court with a friend of mine, and I did some research. The judge that was sitting on the case, the House of Representatives had found out that this judge was basically corrupt, but she had already been voted in and people weren't voting correctly, so they let a corrupt judge get in. This is why it's important to make sure that you vote for the right people, because what happens if you don't vote or you don't pay attention to the state elections, that's when criminals come in. They could have, badges, whatever. They come in, they set up in government, and then people start getting killed. So we have to pay attention to who's getting in the state government. We're paying attention to the president. The president don't have all the power. The power relies in the executive branch, which is the police and the judges. That the police and the judges have been the problem the whole time, but we're steady focusing on Donald Trump. I don't focus on Donald Trump all day. I don't even really look at things that Donald Trump is talking about because he's not my focus. My focus is on the local level, because the local level is what's causing the problem. So we've got some work to do. And if we start getting frustrated and we say forget it and we start acting off our anger and our emotion, anarchy has arrived. That's all I have for y'all. I will keep y'all updated on what's going on in Georgia. From this situation, protests have already begun. I hope they don't start looting again. That's all I hope. You know what I'm saying? Because they're starting to open back up. Businesses are starting to, open back up. And, you get past the pandemic, now you got social unrest or anarchy. So it's a mess. It's a mess. But this has happened because the executive branch, as I said, has been corrupted for a long time, and people have not been paying attention to their local level, which is the police and the judges. They don't even know who they're dealing with. You find out later when someone got arrested and got killed.